You are listening to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss our RC adventures.
Welcome to the Park Flyer Podcast, where we discuss the ups and downs of the new RC Flyer. Join your hosts, Michael and Jay, as they take flight at the park. Now on with the show.
Well, Jay, the festivities continue here at the Electric Festival.
They are continuing, Mike. It's a little dampish outside. Kind of dampening a few spirits, but there are a lot of brave souls here.
Well, we got to fly a couple times today already, so but the rain has kind of moved in, and between the rain and the wind, it's kind of put everybody under the
Yesterday, folks, it was really windy. It was a great day, but it was just really, really windy. And now it's at least in the morning. We got out here about 9 o'clock this morning,
right?
And it was just like misting, and the wind wasn't blowing, and so people jumped out on the runway and started flying. And now, as it's getting towards noonish, it's now raining a little steadier with small pockets of, clarity. But the wind picked up, and we went out there to try to fly your Turbo Beaver, and that was actually kind of fun, wasn't it?
That was a little fun. The cracked Turbo Beaver is very light, and it runs off of a 2-cell battery. It was a little bit Harrier-ish.
Yeah, it was a little sporty. It was a little sporty flying.
It was a little sporty flying. The designated area for the light foam aircraft is a very small area, and you have to kind of fly it in that area for the 3D
And it's
stuff.
Right next to a big
tall fence.
Tall fence.
Yeah.
So you're kind of flying in a canyon, so to speak, between the runway where guys are zooming by, doing it, 80 miles an hour,
right,
and that fence, which it's a very large area, but when you're being blown around by, what do you think the winds were gusting to?
They're probably 14 or 15 miles per hour.
So you have an aircraft that weighs
a couple ounces.
Yeah,
29.
Wet.
29 ounces, 30 ounces.
Yeah,
like
it was getting blown around, just sitting on the ground. The thing is like lifting off the ground and getting slammed down. It was kind of fun.
You did a good job though.
I got a little bit more experience, I think, than you do, because in Alaska, this would be a good day to go fly.
Really?
Yeah.
It's not snowing.
It's not snowing, so if there's just a little wind, it's still kind of nice. Like this is actually a nice day, temperature wise.
Sure.
And the wind, it's not a torrential downpour. It's just kind of misting, raining very lightly. Very often in July, it's like this all the time. So it's like if you want to fly sometime during the summer, this might be the best day you got. You know what I'm saying? So
we're not used to this. The little rain in Arizona, it kind of brings everybody to a big halt.
Well, remember the last time I was here, I don't think we were maidening your glider, your Phoenix 2000, but a squall came in.
Oh, that's right. It did.
We flew in the squall.
Yeah, we did.
And
it was fun.
It was a lot of fun. And so, I have a lot of days flying like that. So I guess I'm just used to it.
Yeah, that's probably true. We're used to clear skies and no winds and slight winds, but nice and warm.
But that's a good challenge. But yeah, I'm kind of shocked a little bit. I guess I've been spoiled by coming down here and being with you, because this event has always, maybe it's been a little cold, maybe it's been a little windy, but all in all, it's usually really, really nice. And this state, which actually is an aviation state, a lot of Air Force bases, military bases are here. Why? Because you get to fly. How many contiguous days of daylight? No, I mean, not daylight, but of flying days you get out here?
A lot. 340 at least.
Yeah. And so it happened to be picked one day that the event is going on. So what are the odds of that? So
yeah, but I think there's a lot of people that knew it was coming. The vendors still showed. We've got plenty of product that we can kind of go browse through. I've got my eye on a couple of things over there. At they have these really neat laser cut glue stands. Did you see those?
Oh, the glue caddies.
Yeah, they're glue caddies. They hold 4 or 5 different CA types, and then some epoxy types.
Right.
And I really liked them. They just come in a flat sheet. They're already laser cut. You just punch them out and glue them together, and they sit right on your desk. And that's always good for me, because I'm always taking my glue, setting it down,
walking
around, then going, where
did
I
my
just put that?
Where'd my glue go?
It's either that or gluing myself to something.
Yeah.
So
Definitely
this will be good. Yeah. So so I'm looking forward to those. They're $3. What a great price!
That's a good deal.
It is a great price. So it looks like the flight line's back open. They've started flying. We've got the guys from Northwest RC. Their Tim is out there flying. It's not a Turbo Beaver. We thought it was a Beaver yesterday, but it's actually something different.
Not a Porter. Yeah, Pilatus Porter plane. Is that it?
I think it's a Bushmaster is what he calls it.
Bushmaster?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it has a beaver tail with that.
Yeah, it looks like a beaver. So, but I think they call it a Bushmaster. But NorthwestRC.com, you can see it. It's yellow and silver. And with the wind that we had today, he was able to harrier the aircraft down to the runway.
He was
pretty
just lightly
impressive.
touching it down. Then he's going from wheel to wheel. He was showing off.
And
plus
he was doing a good job, though.
The wind was yesterday. We had a terrible crosswind.
Oh, the crosswind.
And today the wind is at least cooperating and coming straight down the runway. So he was able to do some really neat things with it.
This is true. Saw a glider or two out today. That was kind
crazily
of
enough.
It was weird, but it's not glider weather. But they did a really good job. It was a motor glider,
right?
It looked good. Did you see anything on the flight line that you really just caught your eye this year?
This year that caught my I gotta give it up to our Motion RC guys once again.
Yeah, Tony brought a lot of stuff out.
Tony brought a lot of stuff, and I would have to just say from a detail aspect, that A10 and the F14, because of their relative size, and the detail that they have, even though the A10 is still a prototype, the F14 they have out. They had another favorite that I like, which was the F15, but after seeing those two, I have to give it up to. I'm leaning towards the F14 myself.
Yeah, the F14 was pretty impressive. We saw it fly yesterday, and it did a good job.
Yeah, and he was flying the A10 today, this morning when it was kind of calm. And one of the things I liked that was kind of different, the LEDs you couldn't see yesterday, but now it's just a little darker today. Boy, did those things stand out.
They were very, very bright. I was very impressed. He got a little further out, but, man, the lights were correct. They were bright.
And it really helped because, it's a gray aircraft on a gray day.
True.
And so, it's instant stealth. We've talked about this before.
Poof, disappears.
Evil Mike up in Alaska, one of the things that he's done, he's flown a couple of planes on either blue days, blue planes, or white planes on snowy days, and we've totally lost where the planes are at. But I was thinking the same thing was going to happen with the gray bird, and luckily those I guess they're like 2 watt. They look like 2 watt lights, LED lights or flashers, and they really, like you said, they really just perked up, and you could tell what the orientation of the plane was. It was a really bright landing gear light that he had when it was coming at us.
That was true too. I couldn't believe how bright it looked. Actually, looked like a real landing light.
Yeah. So but those 2 planes, like I said, for overall, I would say overall detail. Right now, I have to give it to the A10.
Yeah, I'm already going to get the A10.
Yeah, I know you are. It's not like
how many times I've said that? I said that probably about
just
15
today.
times.
Just today, yeah. But I like between those 2 birds and flyability and just scale and how they look. Those 2 are my top. But I'd have to say detail. I have to give it to the A10. It just definitely had the lights on it. The F14 didn't have any lights on it, but then again, you wouldn't think that it would. So,
well, you never know. I mean, I'm excited about some of the new products that they're all coming out. Every guy we talked to this year said that they had new stuff lined up for 2017.
Nice. That was one part I loved about it. Just about everybody. No, it wasn't just about. It was everybody that we talked to, or manufacturer sponsors that we interviewed over the show. Every one of them they all had a secret squirrel. They all had a secret handshake. If you knew the handshake, we'd let you know.
Right.
But all of them had little secrets of stuff that was coming out in the next 6 months, or it's on a boat, an armored boat coming across the sea.
Well, the funny part was too is to watch their faces. Their eyes lit up when you say, "We got anything new coming out?" They'd look at you and go, "Well," but you could just see the sparkle in their eye. Like,
they get a little twinkle.
Yeah, we got some stuff coming, but no, we don't have anything new.
No, nothing. There's nothing to see here.
Just keep nothing behind the curtain.
Nothing.
But you knew it was
what's
coming.
What's that sticking out of your pocket? Nothing. Oh. No, yeah. So they gave a little. Each one of them gave a little hint that more was to come. Maybe gave us a little genre as to what aspect it was going to be, a military or civilian or whatever type of aircraft.
Right.
The part that I loved was that they're bringing new product.
That's exciting. The RC world has kind of stuck to its roots, which there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
But it is very exciting to see new product, to see a new warbird that's no one's ever produced.
Right.
To see a new EDF that comes out. Everybody's familiar with the standard ones that
Right. The Mustang.
Yeah, the Mustangs and the
Don't get me wrong.
F-16s
those
and
are
those kind of things.
kick-butt
They are
birds,
awesome birds.
But
awesome birds.
Every manufacturer makes one.
Sure.
Everybody has a Mustang. Everybody has a P-38 or something like that. And so it's so nice to see, like you said, something different coming out. The twin Tiger Cat is, it's exciting. It looks good. It flies good, and it's different. And it's a good quality bird that seems to perform. So things like that just coming out that just make you want to go, oh, that's totally different. I kind of like it. I want to be the first one on the block to get that.
There's a couple of them out here this weekend, and they've flown really, really well.
Right.
I've been very impressed with how well they fly. They have long flight times, too, for a twin.
Did you see the batteries? None of those are flying like on a 2200. None of those are flying
No, they're
on
all
a
flying on
3300.
5,000.
They're flying on 5,000.
Yeah, dual 5,000.
Yeah. Which one was that? That was the A10, right?
The A10 flies on dual 5,000s, but so did the Bearcat, I think.
Yeah.
Or the
So
what it was again?
It's a Tiger
Cat. Yeah, Tiger.
So that's big. To 10,000 milliamp batteries.
Yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah, it's a long time. It's that's pretty big. I mean, just think about it. I'd say those models are at least weighing 6 to 8 pounds. Too.
Yeah, I think Tony was saying the A10 all up weight was around 6 to 8.
Yeah.
I think is what he said.
Yeah.
And that's actually pretty impressive.
It is.
My Cub weighs almost 10
Yeah,
pounds.
it does.
It's all balsa.
It's all balsa, yeah.
And it only runs off a 6-cell.
Yeah, all balsa and oak.
Oak. Yeah. Why is this airplane weigh so heavy?
It represents the real plane.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. This does fly scale, though. So I'm pretty impressed with that. Well, the pilot raffle's coming up.
it is.
And what's that about? We pay an entry fee
Yes.
here at the Arizona Electric Festival, and your name, you get a little ticket.
Yeah, raffle ticket.
I guess when you raffle ticket, and then on Saturday they do a drawing, and they draw everybody's ticket. And every pilot that registered, I think this year, every pilot that registered is probably going to get a prize. And how many? He said 10 airplanes.
Yeah,
they were giving away 10
usually
airframes.
it's like maybe one or two.
Right.
And once again, folks, the gifts they give away here, one or two nice planes, usually, and then the gifts they're giving away are batteries. I mean, motors. What are some of the other things?
Well, I had a Castle Creations Talon 90
that's right,
last
Talon.
year.
Yeah, that's exactly
That's
right.
over $100 product, and $40 to get in, $100 product walking out. That's good
it's not
return
often
on
that
my
you can
investment.
go to something and like you're making money coming out. Right? So that's kind of
Well, I didn't have any cash in my pocket, but I had really cool toys.
Exactly. That's I love that. That's why this is such a a good value.
Yeah, and I think that if you've never been, this weather aside, I think this is a great opportunity to put it on your calendar. I mean, it gets bigger every year, I think. It kind of ebbs and flows, like Shannon said. But this year was good. This year's been a good year, despite the weather. I've enjoyed everybody that I met, and I'm looking forward to this pilot raffle because you and I both have tickets.
We do have tickets, and so like you said, 10 planes in there, and we got to preview them a little bit, and so there's some nice stuff.
Yeah, there's some nice stuff. Motion RC kicked some stuff
they
in.
did.
I think E-Flight, one or two E-Flight airplanes, maybe.
Yes.
And then they have bags and bags of hidden mystery products.
Yes, exactly.
And mine was in a bag last year, and it was that Talon 90. So I honestly, I'd still have it in the box because I haven't really had anything to use it on yet. But
maybe you'll win something today that you can.
Maybe so. You never know.
So speaking of which, you've been having some strange luck during this festival.
Yeah, it is kind of. I don't know what the problem is.
So this morning, folks, we went out, and yesterday because it was so windy. It was so windy yesterday, folks. We didn't fly too many planes yesterday, and so just our wings. And so Mike had brought up a couple of planes to fly, and So this morning it was raining, so we couldn't bring them out, but we brought one or two just to maiden or remaiden them, and we got a chance. The wind broke. We got a little cell. It was nice and clear for a second. We ran out there, and what happened, Mike?
Well, my Sea Fury flew great.
It did.
Yeah,
except for the takeoff was little. People were screaming and diving.
After that, they're running for cover.
They were all waving and smiling.
Yeah, I don't know what happened on takeoff. The takeoff was a little troublesome, but once I got it airborne, the gear didn't want to come up.
Yeah, it didn't.
And then I couldn't. I cycled it a couple times. It finally came up, and it actually flew great. It landed really well.
Yeah,
that flight went pretty well.
Battery left too. So
yeah, the battery was good. We didn't use a whole lot. I fly it off of a 4,000.
Yes,
I think it's a
4,000
milliamp
4-cell.
Yep, 4,000 milliamp 4-cell.
Flew around for a couple minutes and barely used 80% when you landed.
Yeah, it was a good flight though. I mean, probably 3 or 4 minute flight, and then it kind of started picking up raining again. Yeah. But I assume you're talking about my remaiden of the T50.
Yes.
Yeah. The T50 was one of the purchases. Hobby King, last year I think had a massive sale. They were moving their warehouse. And they were just dumping a lot of their models. And, I remember you being the plain broker you are, sent me some information that said, hey, man, you got to go on there and jump over there and grab these things. And so I grabbed a T50.
Yes.
It was like $50.
$50.
It was $49.99. And I went to go fly it in the park because it's a fairly small EDF. And
looking at all the videos, there was guys flying in a park or off
parking lot, grass, whatever. And we fly in a grass park. So I started the takeoff roll. Unfortunately, I clipped a sprinkler head. They're my nemesis.
They are.
This field is huge, 400 by 400. And I'll find every one of those things. I've ripped tail wheels off. I busted a prop on one.
Yep.
Every single time I go out there. And I know where they are, so it's not like...
Little landmines for you.
Oh, my gosh. It's just like an obstacle course out there. But anyway, the T50, I put it back together.
Right.
It dinged up the wing, and it snapped it in half.
You did a really good repair job.
Yeah.
Once again, making the Blue Core do what you want. And you reshaped a leading edge, I think, and a tip.
It was a wingtip, right? It had part of the leading edge, but it was fairly easy to just kind of match what was coming down, and then the wingtip wrapped around. But I used the Blue Core foam. I put it in there and shaped it all, painted it all back. Glued everything back on. Landing gear was working, canopy worked, everything worked. So it kind of sat there waiting for a while to just get an opportunity to maiden again. I just had other projects on the books. But today I decided to bring it out and do it, try to remaiden it.
Yay!
Yeah, so we got a break in the weather. We jumped out there, and unfortunately we were the only ones on the flight line, which...
Fortunately, unfortunately, meaning everybody got in the stand.
Everybody got to see.
Everybody's watching us.
And so, it's like a wall of spectators.
So what did the... there's not judges, but there's safety guys who are on the line. Who tell you what box to go into for flying. And so he's sitting out there, and he sees us out there. And what does he say to you, Mike?
He goes, do something spectacular. I was like, no, because that usually winds up in, I said, no, that usually winds up in big balls of fiery flames, And he started laughing.
So what happened next? You got out on the runway, you lined it up.
We lined it up. Yep, I did a takeoff roll, poured the coals to it, and was tracking straight down the runway. It was a nice liftoff. Got about 8 feet in the air. I started a right turn because we're flying right to left today, this morning because of the way the wind was blowing. And just as I started my turn, I have no idea what happened. That thing snap rolled into a really hard inverted, just snapped inverted.
Yep.
And luckily I got it back upright.
And then it hit the ground.
And it hit the ground on the landing gear.
It flipped around, got level, bounced, back up in the air.
Yeah, it flipped again. I got it back upright, and unfortunately, by then it was headed to the berm. And the second time was not as soft as the first time. I think first time I lucked out because it actually landed on the landing gear.
Yes,
and it just bounced back up in the air. But when it rolled the second time, I think the landing gear was kind of like, "We're not doing this again."
Nope.
And it loosened it up. Had I been able to stay on the ground and slide to a stop, I think I'd have been all right. But it wound up bending the nose gear, and it wound up pulling the 2 main gears just out of the foam.
Yeah,
and then we found out that one of them
unfortunately.
Yeah, one of them has a little plastic piece that kind of broke off, but the airplane came out unscathed. I mean, other than landing gear, it was one of those knee-jerk reactions that when something happens like that, when you're flying RC, you're not really sure, what did I do?
Right.
What was the problem? Initially, we thought the ailerons were backwards. That's kind of hard to tell. We had the airplane was upside down, so we thought the ailerons were backwards. We got back and then started discussing it and realized, I was making a right turn and it turned backwards. Then it would have turned left.
You would have turned left and not right and snap rolled it.
Correct.
So that makes no sense that if you would have been, oh my gosh, it's rolling to the right, you would have rolled to the left. But anyway, folks, that's just one of those crazy things sometimes about this sport. Things go wrong and you don't know why, or you can't explain why. We were talking to one of our other friends down here, and he had a plane that crashed, and we spent a half an hour talking to him about it and couldn't figure out why the plane did what it did.
Yeah, it's a mystery, I think.
Yeah.
I wasn't really ready for it, but when it happened, the reaction time was pretty quick. But it did get a good reaction from the crowd. The crowd went wild.
They loved it.
And our safety guy,
he just sat there with sorry guys. I said you wanted something spectacular. He's like, I'm sorry, but I go, you couldn't ask us for,
something.
Make $1 million. Hey, do some, find a cure for cancer. No, do something spectacular with the plane.
Exactly. I should have wished us something different. If I would have worked out. Do something
Mike,
slow
I
and
have
boring.
the utmost confidence that the airplane gods have done this for a reason.
Why is that?
Well, one plane in, a new plane in. I mean, an old plane out, a new plane in, meaning we're going to have the raffle here very shortly. And I think you're going to win a plane.
Well,
I'm saying it now to let all our listening audience know. I think you're going to win a plane.
Well, maybe.
Well, I just know these things, and I'm pretty sure that's what's going to happen.
Yeah. Well, let's hope for the best.
Well, then
I can sell it to you and buy my A10.
Stranger things can happen. I'll take that for $1.
Yeah, that's right.
So, stranger things have happened, but you lost the plane. I think you might gain a plane today.
Well, I didn't really lose an airplane. I just lost the landing gear out the airplane.
Well,
one landing gear.
I'm trying to help you out here.
I know. And as I recall, you have a T-50 with one landing gear that's not working
it's
either.
Funny how that works out.
Yeah, imagine that. We might be able to trade landing gears
or something. Because I was trying to make it work and epoxy it and hold it, and I'd land like a feather, crack, it would just fall off.
Yeah, that plastic they use is a little cheap.
So we'll see if that works out or not. But yeah, hopefully you'll win a new plane, and that'll just even everything out.
Well, we shall see. We shall see. Yep.
Well,
we got another break in the weather.
Yeah,
you want to go fly?
I think we should go fly and stop sitting here talking.
Okay, we'll be back.
All right, folks. See you in a little while.
Hey, everybody. So I'm walking along the field, and all of a sudden, this flash goes by my right shoulder, and I said, "What was that?" And I look, and I see that it's this fantastic aircraft that's flying by me.
Yeah, it's a wing.
It's a wing. And you know how I love wings.
I know. We have several because of you.
And it's not doing 50 miles an hour.
No, it's way faster than that.
It's not doing 95 miles an hour. It's doing about $1.50. Easy.
It is easy.
And I have here the pilot of that aircraft, Tim, with me from Northwest Hobbies. Is it now?
Northwest RC.
Northwest RC. Now, you guys changed your name the last year or so, or is it?
No, I'm a new company in the last 18 months.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Northwest RC, we from the ground up started about 18 months ago as the West Coast distributor for Extreme Flight.
Gotcha.
Shop. Yeah, they had a massive merger that was kind of an earth-shattering thing for a lot of companies, just like, oh gosh, they were great individually. Look at them together now.
Right, exactly.
Gotcha. All right.
So.
Well, I got to say, that was an incredible wing. So can you just tell us a little bit about that particular bird, what you got in it?
Sure. Yeah. So the plane that you guys are talking about, that is, Extreme Flight is basically known for aerobatic planes, top shelf IMAC planes, 3D SmackDown type things. They've always had this one little plane tucked in the corner called the Outlaw. It was designed by one of their local boys down there, and it was a nitro thing. Well, now that they're developing their own power systems and motors and everything to go with it, everybody's been converting the nitro ones to electric. they said, let's build an electric purposed one, and this is it. This is a 35-inch Speed Freak Outlaw. Speed Freak is the sub-brand underneath Extreme Flight. And I'm running the stock setup.
That's a stock setup.
You get the power. You get the power combo, which is our 3520 motor. Believe it or not, that's only 900 kV. 900 kV.
Holy smokes!
On an 8x8, right?
That's a 975.
975.
975. Okay. We're doing 6S. You can fly anything from a 3300 all the way up the food chain to a 5000. So it's got plenty of space in there. Yeah.
Bawa.
Yeah.
Not only that, you'd be up for like 2 hours.
Right. Well, and nothing says you have to go, wide the frick open.
Oh, that's true.
Man.
Then that's like saying, why do I have a Ferrari and I don't have any speeding tickets?
Right.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. This is America.
Besides
This is America. It can only be better if you had a
America.
gun on the front of it and you could shoot that too. That'd be the only best thing.
Probably make that happen with this thing. So.
Yeah, I'm sure we could.
Yeah.
So you're running off a 6L, you said?
6L. I personally like the 3700s. It's what I use on all my 60-inch planes. So the idea is, we developed a whole series of planes around one battery. I was flying the 84-inch turbo Bushmaster. It's this big high-wing bush plane stall, takeoff, landing, same battery. I'm flying my 60-inch demonstrator out there, all of our EXP series, same battery.
Right.
Drop it into the little Speed Freak Outlaw, and now I'm going 155.
Nice.
That's amazing to build the whole thing around a battery. That's pretty amazing.
Well, I mean, 6S is becoming a lot more reasonable. Before
that's true.
That was rich kid stuff. You're $350 for a pack. Now you can peel them, offshore for like $60.
Right.
Get something reasonable. The packs I'm flying are like $100 a pack, but they're incredible. Shout out to Pulse Lipo.
Yeah, Pulse isn't here, but we'll give him a shout out. No problem.
Yeah. A couple dealers here that carry Pulse.
Yeah, there you go.
We do that.
That's true. Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit about Northwest RC.
Sure, yeah. Northwest RC. Where do I even start? It's funny. We started this, basically, it was my wife's idea, and I hold it to her every time, and she shakes her head like, that's not exactly what I meant.
Yeah.
Because at the
I've
time,
been there.
I just wanted you to go out and get some mayonnaise. What the heck is this?
Yeah, right.
You came back with a company.
Yeah. No, we started out, I was actually, I was in a completely different, business entirely. I was in the footwear industry. And I was doing forecasting and planning, working with key accounts, and in my downtime, which there was none,
right,
I field flying airplanes. I didn't have a plane without night lights because that's the only time, with 3 little kids and wife and job,
sure,
I could only fly in the dark. So
wow,
I, got tired of that a little bit. I had an opportunity to work for a different company in the Northwest as an engine tech, kind of help out there for a little bit, and I was bleeding for this place, and I was on the the websites, and I was on the forums, just really pumping it up, helping these gas engine brands go out there and a couple other companies, and there was kind of like this pivotal moment where my wife is like, why are you bleeding for them? Why don't you do it for us? I was like, let's see how this goes, and I had this huge opportunity with the merger of Extreme Flight and 3D Hobby Shop, and Ben and Chris and Nolan, the guys, said, dude, you're already an advocate for the brands. We don't have to teach you anything about this.
Right.
You got this enthusiasm, and I had a container on the water less than 90 days later, and it just snowballed. And
well,
awesome.
Your equipment that you brought out is pretty impressive. What's this big one that you have over here? Is that a 3D Hobby?
That little thing, yeah, that's little thing. That's our 94-inch MXS. It's from Extreme Flight.
Oh, okay.
This is the heavy metal edition. We do a standard one in Ultra Coat. In a traditional scheme, and this is a limited edition one where actually it's a printed Ultra Coat. So if you walk over and take a look at it,
we thought it was
we thought it was wrapped.
Yeah, it looks like it. That's actually Ultra Coat. So you can work it with an iron, you can shrink it with
that's
with a
neat.
gun.
I didn't know that they could print that like that.
Oh yeah, and it's a fairly new technology. Lots of people have done it. Not very many people have done it well. So we've got it kind of figured out on this, and if you look closely, there's weathering and rivets and all sorts of exciting stuff on there.
Now, I'll tell you what, if you can figure that technology out, that's going to bring a whole new, just a genre to the RC world, because now you can just create one airframe and put everything that you want on it and sell 500 different brands.
Wait till you see all our warbirds.
Oh, there he goes.
What?
It's dropped.
Okay, there you go.
I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. No.
Well, there you go, folks.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty incredible. So this is a really big year. Last year was huge for the combined brands. This year is going to be even bigger. We're going to have a new release about every month. And when we say a new release, it'll be a size. It'll be, a whole new structure. I mean, we're really in this renaissance between, the motor. Oh, yeah, I didn't even talk about the motors. The X-Power motor on there. That's a 12S motor. It's 6,400 watts.
Wow, power.
Yeah, on a
This is
20-pound
America.
plane. Yeah, America. America says that plane needs 12S and it's over 6,000 watts. So,
Wow.
Yeah,
Watching you fly it out here was pretty impressive. The takeoff was amazing. You just kind of really slow and then just pivoted it up, sat it on the tail, and then just vertical.
Yeah, and then I said,
Exactly.
"Hold my
Wow.
beer. Check this
Oh,
out."
yeah,
Tell me
man,
my
I was,
beer. Check this
I was
out.
I was getting all excited just watching it. Like, ooh,
Yeah, right.
it's pretty amazing.
Yeah. So I mean, there's that. It's really between our aircraft with our electronics, our accessories, which it's been blowing 20 crosswinds, so I haven't hung anything up on my pegboard. But you should take a closer look. Go to northwestrc.com or Extreme Flight and check out the accessory lines, because anything to get any of our planes in the air, we carry.
Yeah.
Nice.
Arms, extensions, spinners, everything. So
Now, is most of what you produce balsa, right?
yes.
Okay, so
Well, yeah, so far.
yeah, so far so good.
You never
Okay.
know. You never know.
Yeah, those top secret guys are coming to watch.
Yeah,
Secret
right,
squirrel.
Right.
Well, I mean, all the brands that kind of combined are all usually balsa, bigger airplanes.
Right.
And I know that we had Motion RC here earlier, and he, everything they build is foam, and balsa seems to be going the way of the dodo almost. But I like flying balsa because you can actually have lighter weight and built up wings and that kind of monocoat colors.
And nothing's wrong with foam. Foam's great because it really has embraced a new type of pilot that maybe doesn't have time to scale something out.
Right.
Sure.
Or, something obscure or something in the masses. And with balsa, though, you still get a performance that you'll never see in foam.
Right.
That you don't need to gyro out, that you don't need to do all these things with.
Right.
And it's repairable. You scuff a wingtip, guess what? I mean, you sand and fill and rewrap, it's good as new.
Right.
Buy a panel or something like that. So,
Or just a new part.
Right.
Yeah,
Part.
you throw your wallet at it and you're good to go. Yeah. No, we're balsa purists. They're really good about what they do. Chris and Ben, they're over in China several times a year, just doing spot check, quality control,
Okay.
production type stuff. I mean, it's
Yeah, I have a 3D airplane, and I've wrecked it 3 times, and all 3 times it was back in the air within the week. So
right. Yeah.
I actually hit a fence with it, and broke the motor mount off of it.
Just jumped up and bit your plane, huh?
Yeah, no doubt. The Jay and I actually had a midair collision with it.
Cool.
And it busted the wing.
Yeah.
And I had that all repaired. So I've been really impressed with the 3D Hobby Shop product for a long time. I've had mine for, probably 7, 8, 9 years.
Well, and that's kind of what's nice, with the brands combining. People said, "Oh, well, one of the two is going to go away." Well, Extreme Flight's a parent brand. Underneath that, there's still the Extreme Flight planes, which are precision built, high speed, high energy, like Jace do.
Right.
He's like, I don't want to be that guy, but he's the best pilot on earth right now. Yes, I mean, you look at
He hasn't seen me fly yet.
Oh, yeah.
Creek, yeah. Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, in Michigan, then.
Yeah, right. There you
got
go.
it
Okay,
here
no problem.
In Arizona, you're looking at that. Then you've got your 3D Hobby Shop planes that are traditionally a little lighter wing loading. People
Right.
like that light flight, and then again, legacy brand, Speed Freak, Aces High, which will be our Warbird division. Which there's one that's been chattered about for since we made the announcement 18 months ago about it, and it's an absolute. It's a disaster on this one thread. The rivet counters came out by the thousands to tear this thing apart, but can't make everybody happy. But we also have some other things coming that will.
Well,
be
okay,
amazing.
so Mike and I have been talking about this all day, and that is, it's nice to see a manufacturer or people in the hobby who are putting out new stuff.
Yeah, that's
we
true.
keep seeing, the manufacturers have something that from back from 1964 when you had tubes and wires and
Right.
copper, copper pipes. And it's great to hear you guys are coming out with new stuff, exciting stuff to get all of us excited.
Well, even inside, take a look at the constructions.
Right.
We're constantly innovating. There's full-time people in the whole development process. It's not just like that worked in this size, let's just shrink it. No, changing airfoils, we're changing shapes. We have a new plane coming out that's actually going to be in the 70-inch range. That's coming out very soon. That if you go on RC groups in the Extreme Flight owners thread, these guys are losing their minds trying to figure out what it is. And I've seen it, and it's cool.
Right.
So I honestly want to say there's probably more carbon in this plane than wood.
Oh, no kidding. Well, there you
Nothing
go.
wrong with that.
70
I love carbon.
70-inch planes is going to come in at 10 pounds all up. I think we're going to do okay.
Oh yeah, you should do great.
Wow.
on that thing. That's
Wow.
pretty good.
And your choice of power, so
Yeah,
go from there.
can't go wrong with that.
We can't go wrong with power
Right,
here.
Right.
Yeah, I'm
Oh
all
my
about
gosh.
a carbon, man. I got carbon in almost everything. So Well, this is that a Beaver? What is it you're flying around?
That's our Turbo Bushmaster.
Turbo Bushmaster. Yeah,
it's-
you did some 3D stuff with that. It was pretty amazing as well.
Yeah. Cody Wojcik and Chris Jewett, and of course the team at Extreme Flight helped design that plane. They hail from, if you're familiar with Twisted Hobbies, they do a lot of development with that product.
Mm-hmm.
Now we transferred it into balsa, and we've scaled it up. We have 2 different sizes, that one particular plane.
Well, I was telling Mike, I'm from Alaska, and I see beavers all the time, and I've never seen one do that.
Yeah.
Unless, well, usually people are screaming. Usually when it happens.
Right? Yeah.
That's the only time that
They want their money back.
They want their money back,
Yeah.
or they want a parachute, one or the
one
other.
or two.
So
Yeah.
that is incredible what that
They're-
bird can
They're
do.
beautiful too. I mean, and the thing is, we're a 3D, 3D and performance-driven company, but we understand not everybody wants to do that. So
Sure.
it scales down nicely and it flies gentle. And between the different wing mixing options, you can use it as a trainer. I have customers, rig it up as a tug to take up tow planes, and we've got floats for them too. Beautiful fiberglass.
Nice.
Floats. And guys just put them. They don't even put the wheels on it. They just put it on floats and leave it there.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah.
I have a Twisted Hobbies cracked turbo weaver right behind you there.
Sure.
So we, I was pretty partial to that when you were flying it early.
Oh, yeah.
Spectacular. So, I was like, hey, it's a bigger version of mine.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's balsa. It's got that crispness.
Sure.
It's floaty. It tracks straight.
Yes, it does track straight compared to this one. That's true.
Yeah,
So-
right.
Well, it's exciting. They can go to where? Northwest Hobby.
NorthwestRC.com. You got it. And for the West Coast customers, I'm the Western distributor in the United States for them, but I also distribute Falcon propellers, both gas and electric.
Right.
I have all the. That's the nice thing about having my own company. All the stuff I'd normally buy for my planes, instead of buying like 4 or 5, I buy like 400 or 500.
Yeah.
To make sure that you can just get it all in one
Yeah.
place. Yeah.
Hey, honey, I need a prop. Okay, the ship's coming.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Let me get a hand truck. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this is your second year here or third?
This is second year. We'd only been up and running for a couple months when I showed up last year.
Yeah, I think we
'cause
remembered
we
last year.
You mentioned
Yeah.
first time last year.
Last year,
Yep.
I think. Yeah. It went in.
No.
So you like the Electro Festival so far? Or?
It's cool. It's worth the drive. I
Yeah.
mean, it's neat to see all these like-minded people. I mean, someone forgot to turn off the weather a little bit.
A
but,
little bit.
It just
The wind machine back here. I
Yeah.
can't find the plug.
it's pointed a different direction. Down the line would be ideal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
It
line
wouldn't
with the
be so
runway
bad.
would be
I
perfect.
could do some cool stuff with that. So
Maybe next year we'll have a different runway. Just kind of
Maybe.
a T
Yeah.
or something. So we
yeah,
all
give
go
me a
down there.
90 or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, right,
So.
right.
Well, listen, we appreciate you stopping by and chatting with us.
Definitely.
Once again, for our listeners, they can go to northwestrc.com and order parts or planes. And you're located again where?
I'm in Washington State.
Washington State. So that's
Yep.
That's the West Coast distributor.
Yep.
And check us out. Check him out there. And
Be sure he wants to accept your money. It sounds
Yeah.
like he takes all forms and denominations.
Because
So,
I am-
yeah, there you go.
All in. This is not a part-time thing out of my garage. I mean, when we did this, we said we're all in. We're going to make this thing amazing from the start. There's no ramp it up and see how it goes. So,
right.
Nice.
we're there. 5 days a week to answer the phones and do everything we can. Yeah.
Good.
We try to be the place we want to shop from.
Okay,
Well,
well, that's
there you
always
go.
good. That's good to know. So that I'm not waking you up when I call you up. Huh? Well, I was
Yeah,
sleeping.
right.
What do you want?
Right?
Oh, a prop? Yeah, I'll send you out a prop.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, I need one little servo wire.
Servo one.
Right.
It's 3 a.m.
Right.
Well, Tim, we appreciate you coming out, and
Absolutely.
and I may have to go over there, and I may have to give you some of my money.
Cool.
So,
All right. Perfect. Come
Yeah,
on
that
down.
outlaw's been calling his name for almost 2 years now.
2 years.
So
Yeah.
when he flew it last year, he was like, "All right, that's it. I got to get one of those." And we left here without it, but I think this year may be a little different story. So.
Yeah.
I'm trying to be resistant.
Yeah. Well, then look away in about 45 days when we have another Speed Freak release.
Stop it!
I mean, I'm
Why
just
do you
saying.
do that? Why do
You know.
people do that? Oh
Yeah.
man!
Well, we'll have to see.
So now I gotta wait.
Now,
Wait.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Get this Delta. It's
Oh,
great.
okay.
Yeah, you can fly that
Okay,
for the
this-
next 45 days. You look at
Okay.
this next new release, the Pantera.
there
And
you
you're
go,
gonna
folks.
see-
You heard it here first.
You're gonna see lots of people that not everybody is comfortable with a Delta. So now we've got a traditional plane that takes the same power system that only loses about 5 miles an hour.
Well, there you go.
Yeah,
You can't go wrong with that.
yeah, yeah. With landing gear.
It's just not fair.
Yeah. I told the guys last time we've scheduled him for a kidney.
That's right.
We're going to start selling body parts off of him
Right.
just to pay for all this hobby.
Right.
Yep. Once again, my poor daughter and her operation is just going to have to wait another year.
Right.
We were
I
busy
mean,
spending our kids' inheritance
I feel
on those
weak.
RC stuff.
That's
Right.
okay.
That's why you have 2 kids. Right? Just get rid of one.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
I had one and I kicked him out a couple of years ago. I said, "Get
Yeah.
out." And
Yeah.
so- Well, we appreciate it once again, Tim. Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
Thanks for
guys.
stopping by.
You bet.
Thank you
See
very
next
much.
time.
All right.
But Jay, we've been walking down the flight line, and man, these airplanes have looked pretty good. But there's a couple here that you've really kind of fallen in love with.
I have. There's a lot of what I like to see. Kit planes are fine, but I really appreciate people who take the time to build things themselves, and they put a lot of love and effort into it. And there's a couple of kits. There's a couple of planes that are here that it's obvious that the people have taken the time and the effort and the ingenuity to put these things together, Mike.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. We have tell us your name.
I'm Barrett Hachhaus.
Very good. All right, Barrett, welcome to the Park Flyer podcast.
Barrett, did anybody tell you look like a young Brad Pitt?
It's
amazing.
I got an Elvis thing going on with these sideburns here today.
It's like
I
looking in a
am
mirror,
Elvis.
I tell you.
I am Elvis in hiding.
Elvis has left the building. Well, tell us a little bit about this. How many engines are on this thing?
Oh, the B-36? Let's start there.
Yeah,
the B-36 Peacemaker. There are 6 working engines on that. The inner motors are Park 480 electric motors, and the middle and outboard motors are Park 450 outrunners. Each set of motors has one large, 3-cell, 5,000 milliamp LiPo powering it. So I've got one battery for the inboards, one battery for the middles, one battery for the outboards. No EDFs, though. And those are, you think about it, they're kind of small motors for a 12-foot wingspan. The thing
Right.
is,
It's 12 foot.
yeah, 146 inches.
Wow.
But by the time you get all 6 of those things singing, and it's foam construction, so the wing loading, they easily beat that wing
So
loading.
when you say foam construction, it's like, it looks to me like a styrofoam, beer cooler foam that
Well,
you used?
Yeah.
Or-
Ironically, of all the airplanes I have here, that has the least finishing to it. But the fuselage itself, probably because it's the oldest one out here, the fuselage itself is basically a narrow, maybe 3-inch box of paper-covered foam called foam core board. Then slapped onto each side is 2-inch thick expanded bead foam like you get in 4x8 foot sheets at the hardware store. Then I carve that with razor blades and then belt sand it with as long as you don't have like a hideous grit sandpaper. Belt sanding works pretty well, yeah. So I belt sand it into a curve, and by the time it's all done and painted, it kind of it gives you this impression of a fully round fuselage without actually having to be fully round. My techniques have gotten a little bit better at building full round fuselages since then, but the fuselage I'd say it doesn't have the degree of finish that the other planes have because it's just raw expanded bead foam sanded, then covered with paint. Nowadays, I will coat the expanded bead foam with a product called Styro Spray 1000 from Industrial Polymers. It's a 2-part solution. It's foam safe, and I just coat my airplanes. And if you look at the Hellcat was built the same way as the B-36, but the Hellcat has that Styro Spray, and it's sanded. It's got a few coats of that, and it's sanded, and it looks very smooth by comparison. Among the airplanes here, you'll see my techniques have changed a little bit and improved. But everybody looks at the B-36 first because it's 12-foot wingspan.
It's huge.
It's giant.
It's massive.
And everybody, they don't ask me, when are you taking the Hellcat up? They ask me, when are you taking that B-36 up?
Yeah, no, I can see to that. And
So how many hours did you actually take you to build that?
Oh, I didn't keep a log of my hours, but I worked on it in my spare time in the evenings for, I would say, maybe 3 months.
Wow. That's pretty impressive for that big of a model.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, the technique is very simple. It allows you to build an airplane really fast. And I was just saying to myself, building this thing, don't spend more time building it than you want to flush down the drain when it crashes. So it's just like, hey, it looks great for an airplane that may crash on its next flight.
Right.
So it's just as good enough for me. Honestly, as a building material, I'm moving away from the expanded bead foam because 1-inch blue core foam that you can also get at the hardware store. When it's sanded, it doesn't give you that pot mark look that expanded bead foam does. And if you look at my Vickers Valiant that's out there, it's a smooth finish, no pot marks, and it's not even treated with that Styro Spray.
So
No kidding.
I learn things about new foams that I prefer as I go on. I find new tricks and new foams that I like better. The B-24 that's out there is also a foam core box on the bottom. Then the top inch of the fuselage, or inch and a half, is expanded bead foam, sanded into a curve to give it that B-24 fuselage shape. But then I wrapped the whole thing in like 2mm Depron. I skinned it.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So before I discovered blue foam, that was my way of easily producing a really smooth finish fuselage.
Well, a lot of guys will put brown paper on it with Minwax, do a layer or two of that, and then sand that, and that gives them a good, smooth finish.
I haven't gotten into things like that because I'm still a little worried about weight. I didn't even use the styro spray lightly because I was worried about weight. But there's.
Really, it doesn't weigh that much, because the nice part about the Minwax, it's water-based. You use the water-based Minwax, so 90% of it goes away. It just evaporates after it dries.
Oh.
And
you can add talcum powder.
Oh yeah,
as well to the Minwax, make it like milky.
Yeah,
and then you can smooth it to where it's just a glass finish.
I see.
And it smells good when you sand it.
Well, the thing about scratch building is techniques and materials are almost as unique as the scratch builder.
That's true. Very, very true.
So it's really fun to walk up the flight line. And there are a couple of scratch builders that I know in the community, and it's really fun to watch them grow and watch them evolve. Maybe you get a little bit of rivalry going on, but it's just like,
we know how that is.
Yeah.
That's
But it's
awesome.
just it is fun. It is fun, and I look at some of their techniques and I think, how did you get it so smooth?
Yeah,
But it's just like
little talcum powder and Minwax.
maybe
I'm giving away
trade secrets.
Take that back.
Actually, the guy I was talking to, he did monocoat. He covered us with
I've
monocoat.
done that too.
And he didn't have a problem with any melting or overheating?
Didn't talk to him in depth about it,
Okay.
so I'm not 100% sure, but depending on the foam you use, I think it can tolerate it up to a certain degree. I mean, I don't think you're going to come into it with a iron on maximum heat setting, a house iron or something. But probably.
Yeah, they make a special tool for that, I think. Right?
No.
Now, how did you get all of those motors synced up? Each one of them runs off of a different system?
When I take this B-36 apart or I'm putting it together, it looks like a nightmare of spaghetti. But there's
everywhere.
Yeah, exactly. And there's so many wires stuffed into the belly pan of that airplane. It's not even funny. The ESCs, or like I was talking about with the batteries, you branch the outboards into one, and then you branch the inboards into one. You branch the middles into one, and then you branch those in together. All their ESCs are going into servo Y harnesses and servo extensions. It's almost like open heart surgery sometimes. You just got to trace where the wires are coming from, get them into their Y harnesses, and keep track of them, following it like tributaries or something going into a river. You just track or nerves all going into an artery or something. You follow them all together, and they eventually merge into one plug that plugs into your receiver.
Wow. That's amazing. Have you ever had any failures on any of the motors?
Not on the motors. Electric servoless retracts sometimes give me fits.
Oh, yeah.
This morning, I had an unexpected problem. I was taken off, and on liftoff, one of the struts just simply fell off.
Oh, I saw that.
Yeah, that happened earlier today, I think. Yeah.
So we had an exciting little landing, ended up landing on two wheels, and it was actually no damage to the airplane.
It was the right side up, so that's the important
and no
thing.
damage to the airplane. So
right. Yeah, that was pretty amazing.
She'll be fine.
Well, that's it looks good to fly. It's amazing. Sounds amazing. It looks amazing. It's big.
I think one of my favorite things about it is the sound.
Yeah,
you just can't replicate the sound of 6 electric
motors
all in
that is
together.
True. Yeah, all of them whining together at one time is amazing.
So, out of your other creations that are there, which one is your favorite?
It depends, The B-36 is the headliner, and that's the airplane. I still think that's the airplane I'm most afraid to crash. But after that, it's definitely I would say the B-24, because it's still big, still multi-engine bomber. It's 9-foot wingspan. It's a little easier to handle, easier to fly, easier to set up. I guess have a little more fun bringing that to the field and flying it than the B-36, because the B-36 is a lot of work. to set up.
Right.
But the B-24 is just it's one-piece wing, a 9-foot surfboard that I just pull out of my van and then just plug it into the fuselage, and you're good to go.
Right.
The B-24 actually only has a retractable landing gear in the wings. The nose gear is not retractable. It's a tiny little tail wheel that's just barely sticks out of the nose and is hooked up to a servo for rotor steering. But it's so small you don't really notice it that well, or it looks like some sort of antenna sticking out when it flies by. So the B-24 is nice and simple, much more simple. The Vickers Valiant, I'm also kind of fond of. That's new. This is its first year. It just started flying a couple weeks ago, and it also has a nice degree of finish. It looks more polished and more finished than the B-36 right now. It's easy to fly. It's easy to set up. It's only a 63-inch wingspan. Pusher props in the trailing edges of the wing. It's got a loud buzz to it. I think what I love about it is, like the B-24, it looks like a real Valiant in the air, and that's what I dig about it. The Hellcat is also that's a 68-inch wingspan, powered by a Power 90 Outrunner. Its performance is great. Unfortunately, we had a hard landing because of this bloody crosswind today.
Yeah, it is windy.
So
today.
It's a little windy today.
It was so frustrating because I had my first touch with the ground was this beautiful and smooth grazing of the runway. Then the wind got under me and picked me up, and I started bouncing and bouncing. And unfortunately, I ripped one of the landing gear out of the wing, and that's going to take some doing to fix. But that's also got a nice degree of finish to it. That is the Styro Spray fuselage. And the spray painting job I did on that, I'm kind of proud of.
So, do you have anything coming up for the future that you're going to be working on, or a project that you got down the pipe?
I've started working on a 63, 64-inch Sopwith triplane, and you don't see too many of those. It's the triplane is overshadowed by the Fokker triplane,
Right.
which actually was a copy or a German attempt to copy the Sopwith triplane because the British started coming out with these triplanes first. And so I'm working on a Sopwith triplane next. I'm doing a lot of boats too, and I'm trying to get to this 16-foot Lusitania that I've been dreaming about since I was a little kid, and I'm thinking this year might be the year to do that, but that's boats, and I won't load you down with that sort of stuff.
Now, we were here last year, and you had an interesting guy running up and down the flight line.
Oh, R5, yes. Yeah, unfortunately, he's conked up. He's conked out with some motor trouble this year, so he won't make it. But
it was it was like an R5 unit for Star Wars. R5 unit.
Yeah, I call him R5T8
okay.
for Tate, and he's a life-size R5 astromech from Star Wars, made out of various types of foam core board, Depron, and very lightweight. But it's just like he came about because I did have an ability to build out of foam,
right.
And I see people on YouTube building life-size R2 droids, R5 droids that weigh a couple 100 pounds and cost like $20,000 to produce. And but these things are made out of metal and plastics and all sorts of stuff, and are indistinguishable from what you see in the movie,
right.
Which is great when you're appearing at a Star Wars convention. If you don't really want to spend $20,000 on a life-size R2 droid or something, I did a styrofoam R5 for like probably less than $100.
$29.99.
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's on sale today.
Exactly.
Well, that was it's just like I did it for a low price, and he would have had a terrible time out in this wind though because he's so lightweight.
Yeah, he got knocked over once or twice last year. I think.
Yeah.
Gusts come through.
Yeah, unfortunately, I forgot a couple of times last year to keep his dead weight empty battery in his feet to keep him from tipping over. Yeah,
it was kind of fun to watch, though. The kids really enjoyed it.
Yeah, they sure did.
Yeah.
It definitely was a crowd pleaser.
Well, how long have you been flying RC?
Wow, this would be my 10th year.
10th year.
Yeah.
You've been scratch building about the same length of time?
Not exactly. I started scratch building probably within a year of when I started. First, I started on store-bought airplanes, and got to give a shout-out to that old Hobby Zone Super Cub thing, because that thing really took care of me, and I taught myself to fly on that thing.
Wow.
And it was tough, and it was durable, and it kept me gratified enough that I kept continuing to try. I didn't want to give up because I felt like I was getting good enough because I had an airplane that was taking care of me, that was standing up to the rigors of a new pilot.
Yeah, those are good airplanes. They're good airframes,
Yeah.
I think, too.
Originally, I started scratch building with flat plate profile airplanes,
Yeah.
which was great, and I enjoyed painting them up and trying to make them look as good and detailed and scale as possible. But there's only so far you can go with profile foamies, and I eventually started branching out.
Well, you've done a great job. We like it.
Fantastic.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
awesome.
thank you.
So,
Thank you.
well, we appreciate you joining us, and we're going to continue on down the flight line. But thanks
Okay.
for joining us here.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Uh-huh.
Bye.
Well, what'd you think of the Electric Festival?
Well, it was a good ending. It was rather, like I said, I had a good time, but for us, it was a little disappointing.
Yeah,
Yeah, just a little bit. Just because we had a few losses.
yeah, we did have a couple of losses this year, but
And I thought we'd have a new family member, but it turns out during the raffle, we missed a new family member by one number. Either side
twice,
of us,
either side.
Either side of us, somebody else won a plane on us. So
Right.
that's the bad part. And then after the raffle, the weather cleared, and we decided to go out and fly your Sea Fury.
Yeah, it worked really well. Sea Fury performed great. The wind was straight down the runway. Had a beautiful greaser of a landing.
And then you let me fly it for a little bit, and I had a great time. I had a little touch and go for taking off, but got it sorted out. I kind of lost it for a second or two. I mean, it seemed like I lost radio control, and then it popped back in, and then I flew around a little bit more, and then I landed.
It was making a weird noise.
It was making
though.
a weird noise because I kind of ground off maybe a centimeter or two of the prop.
You did ground a little bit of the prop
and,
off. It was pretty funny.
So we came back to look at it, and the motor was loose. So no problem. We looked at it, ended up taking the motor out, a little CA on the screws, to hold the motor down, and re-put it all back together. Went back out for a final test flight. The weather broke again. It was nice and clear. The clouds stopped. The wind stopped. Mike went to take it off, and it sounded horrible. It was one of those things, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what that was.
I think
know if something was-
I think the blades were unbalanced. It just had that
It
unbalance.
sounded way worse than that. I don't know if
Okay.
the motor mount came loose again or it was vibrating against it. Something wasn't right.
Yeah. So you made about 3 or 4 laps, and then you said, I'm going to bring it back and land it. And
Well, I had put the gear up and the flaps up, and the airplane was coming around. It didn't sound well, so I thought,
Right.
well, we'll bring it on in. So
Right.
I cycled the gear again and tried to get the gear to come back down. And when the gear finally was down and locked, I put some flaps in and was just flying on a downwind for landing. Just as I started to turn base, I lost all control. I must have had a brownout, or I blocked one of the antennas, or something happened. But yeah, I pulled the power to idle, and it didn't come to idle.
you
It
had
stayed.
nothing.
Yeah,
It
I had
just
nothing.
it was one of those. It didn't lock in the last position. It sent you into a downward, straight down, blam.
Right.
It wasn't kind of glide. It was just gliding.
Yeah, that would have probably been survivable. I
Yeah,
think,
because
if I could
you
controlled
weren't.
it.
It wasn't like you were out of control or you were diving the plane and then this happened. You were flying your downwind leg
Right.
and you were straight and level.
That's correct.
And on top of that, you had a lemon receiver in the plane with a stabilizer.
That is correct.
So the plane was stabilized in stabilized mode, flying straight and level when you lost control.
That is correct.
So, yeah, either you brown out something with the radio. We've never had a problem with lemon receivers before.
Nope.
I don't know.
And that was a DSMX receiver, I believe.
I think so. So it's very disturbing because, it was one of my Christmas gifts to Mike.
It was,
Um,
and I've had it for almost 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, but unfortunately, you really haven't had too many opportunities to fly it. So really, today was the most flights that we've done on a day on that particular plane.
That's true. We did get like 4 or 5 flights in on, though.
And I could see that by the second flight that you had there, you were getting that familiar smile on your face again because you were starting to enjoy it. And I took some pictures of it.
Oh, good.
We had straight down the runway when you were flying down that with the wind. It was maybe doing about 10 miles an hour or so. It slowed way down, and you did some beautiful slow passes right by us. And hopefully those pictures will turn out.
Yeah, we'll have to post them on our site.
Yeah.
So. other than that, it was a great electric festival. What did you get in your
My
in your
goodie bag?
Yeah, your goodie bag.
Right. Okay, so folks, like I said, the best part about this electric festival is you get presents for your flying, your 3 days of flying. You get a pizza party, you get a grab bag or a gift that you get.
Raffle, I think.
You get a you get a raffle ticket for whatever gets raffled off at the end of the festival. When you show up at the festival, you get a grab bag, which has glue, stickers, just various little things that are nice. Right there, it's well worth the price, don't you think?
Oh yeah, it's well worth it. Like I said, in the years past, it's just been great. People have come in and gotten something way more than what their ticket price was.
Yeah.
And the weather kind of kept a lot of people out this year. Zap really stepped up. We didn't get to talk to those guys too much, but they stepped up and gave everybody 5-minute epoxies and
which is
CA
very nice.
glues.
You needed some.
And,
You really
I
did
did.
need some.
Yeah, I could have used some on the Sea Fury actually. But they gave everybody a goodie bag when you checked in, and then for the pilot raffle, I actually got a new battery and some battery checkers.
It didn't look like you had much in the bag, but
No,
I was surprised at what they gave you.
Yeah, but I did miss the aircraft. The guy right in front of me got one, and the guy right behind me got one. Both of them were Spitfires, amazingly enough.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
In my bag, I got a T-shirt. I got one. I got a Zap T-shirt. I got some glue, and I'm thinking I'm missing something. I got something else with my.
You got a battery checker too, I think.
Oh, I got a battery checker, and I keep thinking there's one more thing. I thought I got one more gift or goodie. Either way, it's nice stuff. It's kind of stuff that you like to have. I could use one of these. So yeah, it was pretty nice.
These battery checkers are, I believe they're Hobby King versions.
Yeah.
And they,
and they're not just battery checkers, right?
Yeah, they actually will discharge your battery to a certain voltage.
Right, or it will
balance.
Balance, yeah, you'll balance out the battery as well. So that's really nice. That's a lot better than the battery checkers that we were using. So
that's true because we just had the number users.
Yeah, just
that we
read out the voltage or something. That was it. So yeah, that was a nice little improvement to step up for that. So.
Well, I really enjoy the Electric Festival. I'm glad you got to stick around to go see it. Glad we got to talk to everybody here. It was a lot of fun despite the weather.
It was,
and we got to meet a lot of good guys and talk to Tim
the best part.
and Tony.
And like I said, despite the downhearting weather, everybody was upbeat and happy and talkative, and it just was a blast. Everybody was there to have fun, and like I said, it was funny to watch the little pocket of clear weather, and then everybody run out there like we're racing elbows to get out there to go fly.
Yeah, normally they only have 4 guys or 5 guys flying at a time, and I think when the weather broke, there must have been like 15 guys.
Yes,
out
there
there
were like 15 guys.
It was like nobody even cared. We all just ran out there, and we had every type of airplane you can imagine in the air. We were flying the Sea Fury. There was a couple of 3D guys with some huge
jets,
huge 70-inch airplanes doing 3D. There was a couple of jets going around.
Oh, and our friend from Northwest RC had his.
The Outlaw, Tim. Tim had the Outlaw flying.
And it was kind of funny because you were putting along, that thing said right through the middle of all these slow planes.
That's true, he was doing low passes underneath everybody. It was pretty funny. It's a good year. I liked it.
Yeah, me too. We'll probably do it again next year. I think we may
definitely do it again next year.
Do some overnight stuff and do some night flying.
Yeah, because we didn't get to stay for the night fly this year. Something that they do at the Electric Festival on a regular basis. Honestly, I don't have any night flying equipment.
Hint. Was that a hint?
Well, I'm going to need a new airplane, right? No, I think the night fly would be good. I should probably look into getting one of those and practice before next year. But I think next year we'll probably try to get a little bit bigger presence for us. This was our first year of the podcast there at the Electric Festival. Right. Everybody was excited about it and talking about it. So I think next year we'll probably do it up a little bit bigger and maybe spend a little more time camp out overnight, do something like that. A lot of people wanting to hey, what's going on over here? It's kind of funny when you're sitting there with headsets and microphones and are all set up for a podcast.
Yeah,
because
we could have just been 2 guys with just microphones that didn't plug into anything, just sitting there talking. And
that would have been.
Everybody's
funny.
just coming over. What are you talking about? What's going on?
Sure. Well, that pretty much wraps up our Electric Festival for this year. We appreciate you joining us here at the Park Flyer Podcast for our Electric Festival.
Yeah, our first ever broadcast
edition.
at the 13th annual festival, and hopefully next year at the 14th annual festival, you guys will join us.
Yeah, everybody is invited to come out. It's in Mesa, Arizona. And as Shannon said, they should have information up on the website here within a few months of this ending. They'll get their staff together and talk what went good, what went bad. They're still trying to figure this weather thing out. I know in years past it's been in January and the weather's been kind of crazy, but they moved it to the last weekend of February. And Shannon's pretty good. He doesn't want to interfere with anything, so we'll see what they have in store for us next year. Well, thanks for joining us. If you get a chance, go onto iTunes, give us a star rating and review. We appreciate your comments. If you had any questions about the podcast, please email us at parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com. We'll be happy to talk about whatever questions or comments you might have, and we hope to see you again here in a few weeks.
Hear, hear.
All right. Jay, thanks. We'll talk to you soon.
Mike, thanks a lot. Bye.
All right. We'll see you.
You have been listening to the Park Flyer Podcast. Thanks for joining us, and we look forward to your next visit. Please feel free to email your questions, topics, or suggestions to parkflyerpodcast@gmail.com.